Hi, Mom and Dad, and everyone. It will come as no surprise to you, Mom and Dad, that I've left my assignment to the night before it's due, which means I've actually had the chance to see one of the videos made by one of my siblings, by Catherine, so I've already had a few cries today, and I was wondering if I could actually make it through doing a video on the occasion of your celebration of your wonderful careers in the beautiful town of St. Anthony and the Northern Peninsula and Labrador. And I thought what might help me would be to focus on some numbers that bring back memories of growing up with such great parents, having such a wonderful career, having such wonderful careers in St. Anthony. And the first number that came to mind was the number 1, of course. And the reason for that is that St. Anthony and the environment around there is so singularly beautiful and unique, as are the people who are so loving and yet so tough. And that environment created such a special place to grow up, and I think also created a wonderful place to practice as physicians. Second number is 2, which of course signifies the two of you. 2 unique, dynamic, independent people who created such a lovely environment for me as a kid to grow up in, but also I think really supported each other in your careers and your dedication to the people of St. Anthony and the region. And I don't know 2 other people who could have done what you have done over the last 40 odd years. And I think it is because you're both so wonderful, but also the combination of the 2 of you together creates such a unique and strong structure that supported us all, and I know supported your practices as well. And the number 2 also came to mind because somehow Mrs. Patey, who used to look after us when we were kids, managed to knit 2 mitts every single day, it seemed, when she was looking after us, no matter how busy or how rambunctious we were being. So that's the magic number of St. Anthony for me. Next number that came to mind was 4. Of course, representing the 4 kids that you somehow managed to raise and managed to find time for, in spite of your busy schedules. And we never felt that it was in spite of. We felt we were the top priority, always. And in the busy lives that we all have now, as having careers and all these other things going on, I really do wonder how you managed to raise 4 kids who have, in my opinion, turned out all right, and some pretty damn good, for my siblings anyway. So 4, of course, is a special number. The next number that came to mind was 6:30, and by that I mean 6:30 p.m. because I was never awake at 6 a.m. when Dad left for his rounds. And 6:30, now that I have my own career and got married this fall and have a stepson, I realize how amazing it was, Mom, that we always managed to have our supper together at 6:30 almost every night. If Dad was in the operating room, of course he wouldn't be there, but that was a special time, and I think keeping that special was part of how you maintained such a great family life while continuing to be such great servants to the community. Taking a jump here, so the number 24 came to mind, and I think there was often a sense that both of you were on call and ready to answer any kind of emergency, any kind of issue, 24/7, be it human or sometimes the occasional pet showed up, I know. And I guess 24 also is a special number to me when I think of St. Anthony because of December 24th, which was usually when the caroling event happened at the rotunda at the hospital. And as I got older, that was when I would see the people I grew up with, but also Mom and Dad's colleagues and friends and some of the patients that they were helping to get better as Santa went around and gave gifts. And just seeing Dad in his ridiculous red bow tie and Mom in her fine fancy outfit, it was always such a fun event for us and made extra special because usually that's when we got to carry home the gifts that had come from the post office in the hospital to our house for eventual opening the next day. Next number is over 400, representing the over 400 kilometers between St. Anthony and the nearest McDonald's, or what we thought, that's how we thought about it growing up. And it's a stretch of highway that everyone living in the Northern Peninsula travels up the Viking Trail. And it was also a huge trek that I know Mom and Dad many times to ensure that we got to camp, we got to school, we got to experience so many things. And we also got to experience the magical seascapes and wilderness and wildlife along that trip. And it really was so special. So, and knowing at the Irving Big Stop, when you were coming home, you probably were going to run into someone you knew who might actually give you a lift so you didn't have to go on the Viking Express. It was an adventure. It was a challenge. But that was what you taught us by example, were things that you should look for in life. So that's what 400 plus represents to me. 699 is Mom's member number at the co-op. So if she was working, sometimes we would, if encouraged, help her out by going down to the co-op and buying the milk and the things that we needed for dinner, and then struggling back up Sterrigan Hill, often fighting amongst ourselves as to who was carrying the heaviest bag. But this was an important number growing up in St. Anthony and the co-op, and having people at the co-op there kind of knowing who you were, even if you didn't remember the number, was always special. And kind of knowing as you traveled down there you were walking by where Mom and Dad were, I think was also kind of a comfort to us. 3184 used to be in St. Anthony, you never said the first three numbers, 454, but 3184 obviously is where the hospital calls to get Mom and Dad when they're on call, and it was my phone number growing up. I was always a little embarrassed because we had to answer the phone in kind of a formal way, saying this is Gretchen speaking, or whoever was speaking. And now I know it's because my parents wanted to ensure that if it was a medical call, that the person on the other end of the phone knew that this was a kid, and, you know, tell them to get their parent. Don't maybe launch into some medical details. So obviously an important number for a lot of us. And another one, 3333. So 454, that's how we would get a hold of Mom or Dad if we didn't know what we were supposed to buy at the co-op, or if there was a problem, or, you know, in the rare cases that there was a dispute needed to be resolved. So this was often where we found our parents, because we knew that's where they would be, and we also knew actually that's where they're often very happy, because they were helping others, but also having their skills enhanced and respected and recognized. And the last little bit is, of course, the symbol for infinity, which of course represents the infinite love and respect that I feel for my parents, but also for what they did for the community and what the community brought back to us as a family. I thought of infinity first because I couldn't count the number of jams and mittens and handicrafts and leather slippers and wild duck and fish that patients had given to my parents over the years. And I think that really was indicative of the back and forth respect and love that this place brought to us. So thank you, Mom and Dad, and thank you for giving me this opportunity to share these thoughts and memories, and I really look forward to the new adventures ahead and to remembering what a wonderful, wonderful place and time was spent in St. Anthony and that area and all the things that it brought to us and that you brought to it. Bye.